the stock market, meaning companies, new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving.
The show goes on.
Nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Welcome, my degenerates! The rest of your life starts right now on Market Mania, the no bullshit approach to all financial markets, including darknets, NFTs, this crazy internet money that keeps breaking my heart, and of course, the largest casino in the world, the US stock market. Joining me today, fellow degenerates, Dario Aliotto and Sharp Richie, and we're going to be talking about the New York Times cryptocurrency op ed piece by Paul Krugman, of course, one of my favorite people. Crypto searches are peaking for Google, which seems to fly in the face of the current FUDPOCALYPSE that we're going through again today. Now, this has been a very tough week for crypto enthusiasts. We've had a lot of FUD coming from the billionaires. And now this latest round of fear, uncertainty, and doubt is coming from China. We've heard it come from China before. It's almost a thing you can put on a calendar. It's so regular. But this one seems to be hitting quite a bit harder than before. So, Dario, have you been following why we're having such a harder tumble here than we might normally have when news out of China starts coming out?
I think that it is a pretty logic scenario. They know that all these entities, all these billionaires, that they finally realized after many years that Bitcoin is the future and they don't have enough. They have to do what they can to make sure that they can buy more. I mean, of course, not all of them, they are already doing this, but let's not forget that who has a lot of money, entities and privates, they also, all the control of the media, most of it, especially the bigger one, they're under their hands. And when they have to decide what sort of headlines they should use, how they should handle a topic, of course they will go toward the FUD, because it is more convenient for them. And this is a moment where everybody is more sensible, everybody is easier to get scared, because we got proven that this market can go wild with some sort of black swan volatility like we had a few days ago, and without a black swan event, because we had some sort of movement like we had in March of last year with the full pandemic triggered, and now there were not really any real news, just all sort of FUD altogether. So now everybody got more sensible, especially the weaker hands. So they're trying, and we don't know how long it will last. It will probably last until they will bought enough and they say, okay, I mean, you know, for the time being, we are fine. We don't want to buy it. We're going to just wait for more liquidity and next cycle of FUD. We don't know where it ends, but when it ends, it will pop, okay? Because when they decide, okay, I mean, it's over, they will make it pop. And I believe that it's not such a great idea to be on the sidelines now. Of course, you should be careful with leverage. I'm one of those that the other day woke up with 7 figures liquidation. So, but still, it's better. It's if you can buy spot, there cannot be better moment to buy spot. If you want to have leverage, try to keep it low. But staying on the sideline, I don't think it is a really good idea, because then when it pops hard, and you get left behind, and they laugh at you most possibly.
Well, I hope you're right. It's hard to feel that confidence right now. That's the sort of piss and vinegar that your average Bitcoiner typically walks around with. But when things like this happen, you know, you find yourself on the defensive quite a bit, and you have to re-examine why it is you really believe in Bitcoin. Now, this article goes on to say, in crypto in general, this article goes on to say, remind us all that Peter Thiel grabbed headlines with his laughable conclusion that Bitcoin was helping China to end the reserve status of the dollar, and this was a Chinese financial weapon. So that actually tracks more with what you're saying, Dario, that you know, powerful players think that Bitcoin was just too expensive, and they're taking this opportunity to drive the price down, potentially to accumulate as the price bottoms out. So Brett, I guess my question to you is that a feasible strategy for China here, or are they actually afraid of the capital flight that comes with crypto technology at this point?
I think that, I mean, to some extent, they'll be scared of it, but another extent, they're going to be involved in it. Like, there's like a joke, a meme, right, where it's like China bans Bitcoin again for the 100th time, for the 1,000th time. And like Bitcoin usually pumps after China bans it, right? It's like the whole point of Bitcoin, it's what I was saying yesterday when people are whining about Elon Musk, is that one individual, one government can't even stop the train. And so if people aren't even that worried about China, like how can you be that worried about Elon? It's ridiculous to me. I agree with Dario here. I think buying spot is really smart. If you're a sophisticated trader, you can use leverage. But if you're basically just like a retail guy, you're just gambling if you add leverage, which is fine, but consider that like appropriately. And again, if you believe in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whichever one of these coins that are all buried, if you believe in them long term, I think buying spot is a really good move right now. You don't see, I mean, some of them are down 50% in a day. And like as a whole, I think the entire crypto market is undervalued just as compared to where it's going to be, just from like an overall market cap. I think that the technology is going to be valued much higher than this. So like pick your favorite one and buy it spot. If you want to gamble, you can add some leverage, but I think like short term, it seems quite uncertain as to which direction the market's going to go. So I think you're just kind of gambling with leverage unless you know what you're doing, and then buy some spot and then just hold it, man.
Well, as we sit here, Bitcoin crashes through 37,000, currently at 36,600. Man, so it really flies in the face of this other thing that you had pointed out here, Brett, that Google's search volume for cryptocurrency topics breaks an all-time high. Now, are they just searching, how do I get out of this? I mean, it seems to fly in the face of what we're looking at right here.
So like my friend yesterday was like, oh, like retail got killed in this dip. And I don't quite see it that way. I think this was like a coordinated, like sophisticated dip from big funds or like whoever. Retail they don't crash the market that fast, right? They didn't even know what happened by the time Bitcoin broke 40K or almost 30K. What happened is like some sharp people put out a ton of shorts and then dumped a bunch at spot to then like cause the liquidations cascade. And so like for like the guys that were holding Robinhood or Coinbase crypto, which is kind of who I consider to be the retail base, they're probably still just holding it, right? Maybe some of them panic sold, but for the most part, they weren't hurt that bad. And so I think that like this, I wouldn't be surprised like at a very rapid correction here, because I don't think this was like an organic dump. I think that, again, you look at all the liquidations, a lot of it had to do with leverage and potentially, you know, sophisticated players that took out, they made a great trade, right? They put a big short out and then dumped, and it caused this big crash. So I think that the retail interest is a really good sign for crypto, right? If it's the highest it's ever been searched, like I wouldn't be worried at all about this dip for like long-term good positions. If you're in there trading dog memes and like certain like greater fool theory type of coins, and I don't put Doge in that category, some of the other ones I do, then I think those may not recover. But if you have conviction in the coins you're in, I wouldn't be worried at all.
Well, I certainly have conviction. I guess I'd like to narrow in where the potential bottom of this is. And I know that's a lot to say, but one of my concerns is that a lot of the sell-off is often accelerated by algorithms that have, you know, no short-term memory. It's not like an algorithm says, oh, it's just more China FUD. An algorithm sees, oh, we're down X%, now it's time for me to sell, and that speeds up the process. So, Dario, is it possible algorithmic trading could drive this closer to 20K? Am I in danger of even saying that number?
I don't think this is a really likely scenario. Why? Because we were able to make such a huge flash crash because the market was loading up, was making incredible gains for 15 months. It took 15 months to let this thing happen. So there is not enough, let's say, power in the market to trigger another liquidation like that one. People got wiped out. Nobody of the people that got wrecked in this day had enough money to charge and then lose. The point is that so much money got lost because so much money was gained. There is not so much gain anymore floating around. There is not so much money to lose around. So I think, yes, it could touch again 30,000, but I give it like less than 10% chances, and it could go again around or a bit below 35,000, but I give it to that like 20-30% chances. But I give it higher chances that it could be ranging around these prices for a few days and do like this chopping, this extreme volatility to convince people to get finally out of it. But then when they will have enough, it will pop. And let's not forget that this sort of volatility also scares the shit out of people at that level, that then they stay in fiat until the coin pumps another 100% or more, and then they keep waiting until they buy again to the top. Yeah. I have a few friends that they bought to the top in 2017. I told them buy the dip, buy. Then a few weeks ago, they finally got in and they got wrecked again. And now I'm telling them, look, but brother, I know that you got fucked again, but let me tell you one thing. After you get wrecked, it's the best moment to buy. If you ever plan to buy again, you should do it now. I know that your wife wants to kill you. Maybe you shouldn't expose her to this sort of things. But don't wait another 12 months. Okay, maybe you want to make up your mind a few weeks and see what you want to do. But if you ever want to get back again, don't wait. Don't wait for like 1 year of historic gains where you see, oh, okay, now, finally, last year it went well, so I should go in. No, it doesn't work like that. It's upside down, actually. That's the point.
Yeah, that is an awkward conversation. Trust me, honey, this dog money, it's going to take us to the moon. I don't know. Weird times, but I think I'd trust the dog money more than I trust this guy, Paul Krugman. Don't get me started. I frequently disagree with this man vehemently. Today he's out adding more FUD to the system. That's the picture. Technobabble, Libertarian Derp, and Bitcoin. Now, of course, I am the derpiest of Libertarian Derps that ever derped, so I do take exception to that. But fair enough. We need to address our critics, and we need to answer their very reasonable questions. He lays some forward here. I want to run just a few of them by you that he pulls up in this article and just gets your thoughts. He says that he ends this paragraph saying, nowadays we use Bitcoin to buy houses and cars, pay our bills, make business investments, and more. Oh wait, we don't do any of those things. 12 years on, and cryptocurrencies is still the plaything of us derps and techno nerds and all of our babble. So is he making a valid point there? He goes on to point out Venmo didn't take that long. Zoom didn't even take that long. 10, 15 years after these technologies come out, they become household names that we can't do without. Crypto's not there yet. So what is going on here? Does he have a point there, Brett? What do you think?
No, and remember this guy in, I think, 2005 maybe, said that the internet would be no more impactful than the fax machine. So this is like an all-time legendary moron. And of course, he's got like a Nobel Prize or something absurd. And I like... Yeah. The more you look at our institutions, and like anytime it's in someone talks about a sector, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, and it's like, wow, like there are a lot of morons out there. And I think that just applies like across the board. There's a lot of misinformation. And I don't know how this guy has a platform. He's also been bragging or like vehemently against Bitcoin since I think it was like double digits. And so he loves to crow on a dip. It's like, okay, you were telling people not to buy it in 2013. Now it's down to 35K or whatever, and you're taking a victory lap. It's absurd. Like, I don't know. I honestly just don't even pay attention to this guy.
Well, I would love to live in that world, but a lot of people pay attention to this guy. That's my problem. So Dario, he goes on to mention that this is a bubble, it's a Ponzi scheme, mentions Bernie Madoff, mentions only criminals use Bitcoin, yada, 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 mentions the technobabble. But he then goes on to say, given all this, are cryptocurrencies headed for a crash sometime soon? Not necessarily. So even though he seems to think this is all tulips, he thinks it's got some legs in it yet. And I guess it seems to me like that's him just being afraid to admit, to come down on the fact that if he really believes that this is not worth anything, it seems like he's afraid to admit that it will go to zero. I guess if he had an argument here, is it that it could be just taken over by the gold standard, this barbaric relic that he's talking about? I mean, really, Bitcoin's only advantage is that it's the only sound money out there. Could it be taken over by another sound money infrastructure? If somebody wanted to go on Bitcoin, does Bitcoin go away tomorrow?
There is one thing that we have also to consider when we see these articles. First, it is now becoming like politics, like Bitcoin or against Bitcoin. And when it gets to kind of political statement, you don't have to necessarily say what you think or what you think it's right. You just try to convince people to get on your side and make them believe what you tell to them. And with the fact that you have some achievement, that you won some prize, or you are some really respected people in some other field, it gives you credit with those weekends that they don't know what they are doing, they don't have any idea. And so it works like that. Also, does he mention if he has any conflict of interest? Does he mention if he makes money and how he makes money when this thing dumps? Let's not forget that these people, the more they say bullshit about Bitcoin along the way, and the more Bitcoin keeps not dying and keep going up after all, there is also a psychological thing happening there, because they kind of would never want to admit that they were wrong, because when they have to admit, even between themselves, just alone, that they were wrong, they have to say, oh, well, I could just put there a few $1,000 5-6 years ago, and I would have, 1 million or something, So there is this inner fight into their ego that they don't want to admit that actually they were wrong all the way, and they kind of hope that after all they were right with all their thesis, and they bring with them all those people they don't really know enough about the space, and they will just say, okay, who would I believe? Michael Saylor, which has a lot of Bitcoin and wants it to go up, or I will believe to this very well-educated person, which everybody says that he knows a lot of everything. So why would I believe Michael Saylor, which I never heard before, and not this man? There is all these sort of things. I see it as politics. These sort of article I usually don't even open, because it just wastes my time and wastes my nerves.
Well, I gotta agree, and I don't know. I'd also like to remind everybody else, Paul Krugman might have gotten in trouble a little bit last year. He might have been looking at some things online he shouldn't have been, and almost got caught. Just putting that out there into the universe. So maybe his credibility isn't everything it needs to be either. But I don't know. I think we addressed the FUD pretty well today. I was going to get to the pick of the day here soon, but I had a quick question for you, Brett, coming in from chat. Malik Seeley asking, any thoughts on multi-accounting on Top Shot by Dingaling? Is that what that is? TS Top Shot?
Yeah, I answered it in the chat. I haven't paid hardly any attention, but I assume he's not multi-accounting. He's just buying accounts out. This is a guy he bought 2 different accounts out for $1 million each. He's firing like several million in the marketplace. I think he owns like over 100 number one serials. He owns a lot of the jersey number. He owns a lot of the last serial. So if there's any I guess large transfer of moments to him from another account, I assume he's just buying that account out. It wouldn't make any his strategy is just blasting on the elusive serials. So he doesn't. Another account wouldn't even help him. So I think he's just buying them out.
Let me add one thing. One thing about this NFT thing, which I've never touched. But my biggest concern about this is that it is extremely easy for a few people of just a single person to open different addresses and keep buying the same thing over and over and over and over and over until somebody else buys it, and you just buys your bag and you leave it there. It is too easy. This is why I'm not touching it. I refuse to touch it because it is too easy to make strange things, and I don't want to get fucked like that.
Fair enough. Andrea Renna says Dario's buying the dip while he talks. Let's see. Will Doge remain in the top 10 after this dip? Ethan V asks. Dario, what do you think? Doge top 10?
Look, I can tell you that the short on Doge, which I had, it was the only thing that I could be happy about the other day when I woke up. I obviously closed it because, I mean, why not? It was everything was bleeding out, so I closed it. I might open it again later on. The thing about Doge is that possibly it also took the dip even better than other more legitimate currency, and maybe they are holding light because we're holding because Elon will save us anyway, so we're not selling because Elon is there, you know. Somehow it will be like that. But let's not forget that, for example, Doge takes bigger dips when it comes some other sort of dog coin. When Shiba was pumping, Doge was not, because these sort of holders, they're not loyal to the coin, they are loyal to the hype. So when the hypes go somewhere else in some sort of similar thing, they are happy to sell it at dumping and get somewhere else. So, and also I believe that I think it's unlikely that Elon will be able to keep influencing the market so much. Also, I thought that maybe at some point Jack will just shut him down and say, look, I mean, we had enough. He can just unplug him, you know, just look, I know this could be legal, but our policy, it's kind of changing, and you just won't do this anymore. I don't think that this can go on for much longer. So I don't know what can happen exactly, but let's see. I don't expect it that he will be able to do this sort of things for longer. Maybe it's just somebody that lost everything will shoot him along the street at some point. I'm just saying that he's really playing with fire, and when somebody plays with fire, at some point, it is likely that he will have to stop.
Well, it's getting crazy out there. Just be careful, viewers. Buy the dip. I think buy the dip. This is not investment advice, but I'm saying buy the dip. Maybe avoid the dog money. Maybe get into some of the better projects out there. Sharp Richie, you mentioned about a week ago that you wanted a 3x short on Bitcoin. Oh my
10x.
God. 10x short on Bitcoin. You're sharp. Got to give you that. And that's why we keep you around for the Market Mania pick of the day. All right, Sharp Richie, what you got today?
I'm rolling the same play as yesterday. I'm sticking with Ethereum. It's it was just 2,400. It's up a little bit now, but I like buying the stuff that I believe in long term now. I think on the dip, it's sort of gambling on the dog money coins, I think, is a higher risk, and I think that the stuff that's going to go back up first is what people consider to be the sort of flagship tier A Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then some of the other maybe competitors that people have allegiance to. But for me, I like Ethereum, so I think it's a good time to buy.
Right on. It feels good. And Dario, where are you at?
That's the same pick. I have the same pick. Look, what we are seeing is they are flooding as much as possible Bitcoin. We don't know how long they will keep doing it. We don't see any specific FUD against Ethereum, which have been dipping like almost 50% since the all-time high. A lot of people, they were waiting, they wanted to buy. I was trying to keep them cool, saying, hey, you lost the train, you just lost the train, wait for the next one, wait for the next one. So now I think that this is possibly another good train to take, because it's been dumping so much, and the most of the FUD, it will probably keep coming to Bitcoin, which will also do well, I believe. But now it could be a safer pick, short term and medium term, if you already have enough Bitcoin, obviously.
Well, I gotta agree with both of you guys. Ethereum sure feels severely undervalued, and it does hold the danger of actually flipping Bitcoin at some point in the future. If any coin's gonna do it, it's gonna be Ethereum. So I like it, and we've had a lot of Ethereum picks this week, but they make a lot of sense. I'm going with VeChain, VET. This is a supply chain utility token. It's been getting mentioned on some news programs, and I keep seeing it bump up in the corners I like to hang out in. So a little bit of noise goes a long way in my book, and I'm picking that one. Besides, at this point, it almost feels like you can't go wrong. There may be another leg down here, but I don't know, man. Feels like all fire sale to me, and I'm going to take advantage of it. That's going to do it today for Market Mania, our special nooner edition. Thanks for sticking around a little later in the day. We just had to cover this one as the FUD comes rolling in. We're going to be here to battle it out and let you know what's really going on. Be sure to like, subscribe, share all of our content. Please help us get the word out and keep this show rolling. Go to Mindak Gold, talk to Mindak Jack, get your special pricing on gold and silver when you mention Market Mania. Now, I'm going to leave you with this little bit of wisdom. Just remember, if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. We'll see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it's lights out.
I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold or a domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl. Switch it up. I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard, got the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury. However, turn it where I would turn it. Can't lie like this is to be burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I imagine should've looked the other way. Couldn't clear space in my mind. Was afraid of the time. Strobe light like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now. How about tonight?